Good morning, Internet. My name is Ryan Ingram, and it's Friday morning. We're on the live stream. This camera is a little bit tilted. I'm going to start messing with it, and then it's going to mess up. All right, I'm not going to worry about it. It's fine where it is. Just makes me feel like I'm not making direct eye contact. I'm feeling really good today. I hope you all are as well. So, any questions? Go ahead and post them in the contract. Go ahead and post them in the chat. Let me get all these disclaimers up here. There we go. Disclaimer, knowing that full good and well, complete transparency. No idea what I'm really talking about. Don't go out and do stuff just because you heard it here. Check with a real professional first, and then post your questions in the chat. It's Friday morning. Any questions, comments you guys have? Tolu, welcome. I appreciate it. I hope Texas is treating you very well. And let's see here. Yeah, man, I've got a whole series coming out soon, but it's a surprise for everyone, man. It's a surprise. I'm really looking forward to it. And while we're starting, I'm feeling really good today. I think we should probably play around with PropStream for a little bit this morning. I'm really encouraged by that software as of late. So I really think everybody should use it. I'm a little bit biased, but I've been making a bunch of comp reports lately, and I'm just really thankful for it. It's a really simple process, and it really allows me to get dialed in to the properties without spending too much time, energy, or effort trying to figure out what a property's worth. So it really just streamlines the process, and we have put a massive amount of properties under contract the past couple of weeks. So I've been feeling really grateful as of late. I mean, let's see here, just really quick to break down kind of how we started and where we currently are. The first year, August 2017, we bought a duplex. So we ended 2017 with 2 units. Let me write this down. And then let me also verify with my brother later on. So in 2017, we had 2 doors. We ended 2018 with 21 doors because we bought a package of 13 properties right in December. So if it weren't for that package of 13, which was a land contract, by the way, we would have only had 8 properties. So it's almost unfair to say that we ended the second year with 21 properties, even though we did. I don't think we collected even the first rent until January. I mean, I think we closed like early December. So we got a little bit of prorated rents at closing, but not really much else. So then in 2019, we ended that year with 38 properties. And then we ended 2020 with 80 doors. So 2017, we had 2 doors. 2018, we had 21 doors. 2019, we had 38 doors. And in 2020, we ended with 80 doors. So that means we started this year with 80. Currently, where we are, so let me go ahead and write 2021. I think that's what year it is. Pretty sure, for a little bit longer. It's crazy how quickly this year has flown by. But in 2021, we're currently at 142 doors. And right now, we are under contract with 30 properties. Now, 11 of those are a package, but the other 19 of them are just properties that we were able to put under contract. It's just one-off properties here and there. So it's been a lot of movement. It's been a lot of networking, reaching out to people, monitoring the MLS, and I mean, really just working hard to put properties under contract. But in going through like our track record, I mean, having 30 properties under contract at once is like the first 3 years of our business, because we ended 2019 with 38 properties, and now we've got 30 under contract. And we've already closed on 2 this month. So, I mean, in just 1 month, I would say we're able to do now what it took us the first 3 years to do. And that just I guess just the feeling of the exponential growth has been pretty surreal. And uh, all the hard work for sure, but also, I mean, we've gotten extraordinarily lucky on a lot of different occasions. So, I mean, I'm just kind of in awe, I guess. And this is not. I hope you're not hearing this as braggadocious. I've been ranting for a while without looking at the comments, but yeah, I mean, very surreal, and it's really awesome, and just feels good. So, really thankful for all the people that have helped, and all of the people that are continuing to help, because the larger this gets, the more dependent on other people I become. So it's way bigger than something than Will and I can control by ourselves at this point. And we need a lot of help from different folks to make everything go smoothly. And we're in the infancy stages of building out our team, but I'm really, really happy and really thankful for all the people that show up every day to help us wrangle all this in. So very grateful. Just feeling super grateful this morning. That's all I've really got. Yes, absolutely. I would love to do that. Happy new light all. Yes. I like it. Yeah, man. No, don't let's keep this one close. Let's keep the cards on the table for now. Yeah, if you want to go ahead and send that over to me, I'll pull up prop stream right now and we can get on this. Let's see. Now, the last time I pulled up prop stream and did the whole screen sharing inside of this live stream, I did it wrong and no one could see my screen for quite some time. So let's see. All right. Berry Patch Lane. This is going to be really exciting. All right. Let's see. Let me see if I know how to. Is there a way to like mute notifications so that I don't get a whole bunch of pop-ups? Surely that should be in like the system preferences somewhere, huh? In the perfect world, I suppose I would have done this beforehand. Notifications, do not disturb. There we go. That should work. All right. All right, here we go. Let me go ahead and share the screen and get after it. Ooh, look at that. A screen inside of a screen, inside of a screen, inside of a screen. That is a never ending loop. That's really cool. All right, 10, 10, 6, Berry Patch Lane. Here we go. Let's go over to prop stream 10, 10, 6, Berry Patch. Tomball, Texas. Tomball. Man, look at how beautifully gridded that entire area is. Man, I guess out west you can do stuff like that. What a perfect neighborhood. Well, this is interesting. There are two unique properties to the same place. Doesn't look like a double lot or anything. Oh, I see. This tiny little section right here. All right, well, I guess that's not the one with the house on it. So, do all the other ones have that? No? That one is special. Well, that's something to consider. Presumably, there's just a slightly larger yard in that one. I don't fully understand the platting of that, but that's all good. All right. Ooh, negative $275,000 of equity. Let's see what it's coming up with. All right, so if you have never used PropStream before, can everybody see this? Everybody can anybody on here just confirm that you're able to see this? I don't think I could see both screens at one time. That's fun. Presumably it's working. All right, so the estimated value of this home is 108,000. I imagine that that's probably wrong. So generally, I have found that on PropStream, the generic value that's here, and then there's also the monthly rent. Generally, that doesn't show up accurately either. So let's see. There's really not much information on this house. Did you set me up, Tolu? You set me up. Let's see. All right, so if you haven't used PropStream before, this is all the information displayed. So the current owner is One Marts LLC, and this is their mailing address. One of the things that I really appreciate about PropStream is this mailing address. You can see, you can kind of click on it. There's this feature of linked properties. So if you see one property that you're interested in, there's a high probability that, well, this person owns a lot of stuff. But you're able to see all of the properties that they own in that same LLC, or at least properties that are registered to the same mailing address. So when you see something like this, perhaps since this is a suite number, maybe it's pulling all of the properties that are on Interstate 45 at this address, not just the suite number. Sometimes, if the registered agent of the LLC is like an attorney, then all of the properties owned by entities that attorney is a registered agent for will also show up. So I wouldn't just make the blanket assumption that if you find these linked properties, they're not all owned by one person. But that's just a cool feature of PropStream that, again, when you're looking for deals, if you find one that somebody wants to sell and they have others, then the chances of them wanting to sell another one or two properties is likely pretty high. So the cash sale, I think this shows up instead of like the mortgage information when there isn't an existing mortgage. National City Mortgage is the buyer, probably. It was foreclosed on at some point then. And then this is the comparable. So in order to interact with this and save it, you have to save this property. So let's go ahead and save that first. And then now for the comps. So for the comps, I would say you can already see that just all of these selected, it's 200,000. So that really begs the question of where they got this 108 from. Now, you can also see here in the comparable search that the range goes back 1 year, so that's fine. But the square feet And the bedrooms, bathrooms, those are wide open, along with the year built. So we can also dial this down to only single family homes, and that lessens the list a little bit. But look what it did to the average sales price. It made it go up. So now what you want to do, which it's a little bit weird as to why there isn't a number of beds, baths, or square feet here. This is not one of those layup things. Tolu is keeping me on my toes. So let's see if we can come up with, what is this? Zillow has some additional information on this. So it's the same little beautiful plat of land. Zillow has it at 172. Here we go. So it was built in 2002, and well, doesn't really say any sort of bedrooms or baths, but I saw it somewhere on that har.com. Um, oh, I see. It's pulling the vacant land, not the actual one with the property on it. All right. This website says that it's 3 beds and 2 baths. So we're just going to go with that. So what I like to do when I'm trying to get really specific on the comps that we're pulling is I like to make it exactly the same. So 3 bed, 2 baths, minimum, maximum. That way there's only pulling comps for other properties that match that exactly. And you can see now what that has done is dramatically lessened the value of the average sale price. So also more important than the number of beds in the baths are also the square feet. So this one says it's 1,400 square feet. And generally, uh, I go, like if it's an 850 square foot house, I just like to put, I think it's plus or minus 10% is what you really want to stay in. But for, the prop stream purposes, I normally just put 1,400 minimum, 1,500 maximum. However many square feet it is, I just sandwich it between the two closest 100. So now we're down to 6 properties for the comparable listings inside of a half distance or a half a mile. So you're allowed to go up to like 1 mile so long as you stay inside the same neighborhood. And I mean, you see when we make that change, it really doesn't change much. If you go out to 2 miles, I mean, that probably encompasses a lot of things, especially you can kind of see in this interactive map down here that it's starting to pull these in this area. And since I don't know anything about this area, I don't know if this is like a distinctly different community than this. I don't know just the way that things are kind of laid out. Like, is this more revered because it's a little bit further away from this airport? Does this have a ton of inconvenience because it is right there at the airport? Consequently, the values are lesser. These are things that really only a local can answer, which is one of the reasons that I think that real estate for the foreseeable future is safe from a lot of these overarching technology or software companies because it is so difficult to understand the nuances of local markets. All right, so let's just go back to our little 0.5 because I think we had something good there. There's a decent amount of comps. Really, you only need 3 to 4. I like to get about 5 just to stay safe. Let me check for questions really quick. It's a 3-2. Ah, look at that. You already answered this. All right. So now that these are here, this is a real tough one. Generally, there's a lot more that have pictures on here. So maybe just let's do it, the right way this time. So I don't know what kind of condition 1016 berry patch is. I haven't seen any interior pictures. I don't know what har.com is. Okay. Well, if these are the interior pictures, 172, I mean, that's good. So now that we've got like a baseline of what this house looks like, we can go ahead and, oh, this is fun. How does this website have more information on it than Zillow? Didn't have this much information, right? What is HAR? Zillow's Okay, I see. It's pulling the vacant lot. That we already talked about that. Let's see if we can zoom into this place. Berry patch, listed for 172. I would say now, after looking at these pictures, that this number is probably going to be really close to the actual retail price or the like the flip value. I mean, this clearly isn't owner occupied. It looks like it has, you know, these these home source lights right here, the Home Depot special. They've already been put up there. The countertops are clearly new and matching throughout. So someone has already flipped this, and I imagine since they've already put their money into it, you're not going to get too much of a discount on it. It looks like they cut a few corners with the not matching the range hood with the appliance if they're going to provide those. But yeah, I mean, it looks like everything is kind of ready to rent. So let's go back to PropStream now that we know the condition of those. This one sold for 165. It was listed on the MLS for 77 days. It's almost the same square foot. The lot size probably about the same, built at the same time. So these are pretty well, I mean, cookie cutter homes. So I mean, 165 is probably a good comp. So this one, so it sold just a little bit ago for 195. Hey, 172 might be a good price. Let's look at these pictures for 165. Man, they built a real big garage on the front of their house. Looks like the garage door needs a little bit of work, a little bit of TLC. So, I mean, really, here generally PropStream pulls more pictures than like just the one. And it looks like, I mean, I would say this one is in a little bit nicer of a shape. So the PropStream is estimating this value at 200. The kitchen is larger, a lot more cabinet space. So, I mean, everything else looks to be about the same. I wonder what kind of flooring is going to be in the bedrooms, if it's carpet or if it's actual LVP throughout. So it's LVP throughout. I mean, this was a good flip. 165 was a good price on this. So I would say, just based on this alone, knowing that this house sold for 165, it could have been listed for higher and they negotiated down to 165. I get that this one probably doesn't have as much of a yard as the one that you're looking at, which is probably going to, probably counts for something. But especially if you're going to rent it. So yeah, knowing that this one just fundamentally looks better, they spent a little bit more money on it, carrying over the LVP throughout all of the bedrooms. So it's the same flooring all throughout the house. The kitchen is a little bit bigger than the one that you have. I would actually rank this house above the one that you're looking at on this berry patch house. So I would not pay more than 165 for this. The other appraisal came in. I would try really hard. I know you're in a different market. I know like your whole strategy fundamentally has to be different than like the market that I'm used to. Again, that's why I think real estate is safe from the overarching things, is that you can't play the same game in every market. But hey, negotiation is negotiation. So let's see if we've got some information here on Zillow. Just renovated with granite in kitchen and bathrooms. I would not have guessed that that was granite. Price and tax history. So, all right, it doesn't show like the last time it was sold, what they're all in for. Generally, if you on this price history, you'll be able to see like who the person that's flipping it is, what they paid for it. So I would expect it to be like 120, 130, and then they put something in there and they're trying to make, I don't know, 15, 20 grand off of it for their time doing it. I'm making the numbers a lot smaller just because of I'm unfamiliar with the market, so I'm trying to be pretty conservative in just my thinking out loud. So I would just really try to negotiate it down. I think from looking at the pictures of this and then the one other comp that we have where we're able to look at pictures, I would say that yeah, I would say that you should probably, I don't know. Since I don't know anything about the market, getting like 5, 10, $15,000 worth of equity as soon as you buy this house is probably a good win because clearly you're not going to have to do much to it. The house was built in 2002. Everything is renovated. If LVP were in the bedrooms, then you could probably put a few different residents through it before you had to put any real money in it again, other than like the unforeseen things. So I would say, just based on all of this, I mean, if you could get it for somewhere in the 155 to 160 range, I think I would be happy with that. Since we don't really have any pictures of this, this is clearly some sort of lot. I don't think that this could possibly be a house. So let's remove that one. That should bring up this price a little bit more. There's another lot here, I guess. Don't know why. That price is attributed to it. So if we remove that one as well, then I mean, now you're looking at like the 179, which, is higher than what you're expecting because of these two, the 195 and 190. They were sold. I wonder, even though or PropStream is not pulling these, I wonder if we could look at these as well, figure out why this thing sold for so much higher. Oh, and there's our answer. It's more colorful. That's why. Oh, I don't remember seeing fireplaces in the others. It looks like it's just a little bit different of a style. Nicer bathrooms, I guess. LVP throughout. So yeah, Tolu, I think you're interested in the only house that we've seen so far that has carpet in the bedrooms. Let's see the other ones. So that was 195. Now let's check out this 190. Let's see if it's just as colorful. Hey, maybe this is good. Maybe we now know that the Texas market is getting a little bit fatigued of the white and grays. That would be funny. Oh, leading with pictures of the pool. So another jet tub. Now this one is dated. This makes me confused about all of the things that I just said. Oh, there's only 8 pictures. So maybe the person that was selling this one is just like a master marketer. Maybe they had somebody that just needed to sell something kind of in a pinch. So and again, like I kind of led with, you only need 4 good comps in order to kind of create your value, the low end and the high end. So I would say these 4 are really solid. So, you're looking at 179. So even if you paid full asking price for the property that you are looking at, in theory, according to all of these comps, you still have like $7,000 of equity from when you got in here. So now that we saved the comps, we're happy with those. Let's view this comp report that PropStream pulls. And I really like the way that they set these things up. So this is pretty much, in a nutshell, all of the things that we talked about. If you wanted to, if you had PropStream, you can go ahead, you can rename this, and you can just go ahead, mark it up, and insert text and all of these things. Crop that out. You could do whatever you want to, really, to make this a little bit more presentable. However, it shows your search criteria. And then this is my favorite part to look at. If not most of the time, whenever I run my own comp reports from PropStream, this is the page that I kind of skip to because I already know the other things. But nonetheless, those other things are really important, especially when you are presenting this to like one of your private investors or a bank making your case as to why their appraisal is wrong. So this would be it. So the low end would be 165 and the high end would be 195. The average is 179. And then on this report, this one was a little bit of, in my opinion, a little bit unusual because there weren't pictures available for all of them. However, if there were pictures available, then what you would do is, oh, I think I figured out an issue. I'll try it in a second. But I guess to finish my sentence, the pictures will populate here on this report as well. So the one comp that it had, generally it pulls photos along with it. Man, Tolu, I'm good at this. I know it, but not right now. All right, so let's go back to PropStream and let's see if we can look at this on a map because it is pulling the vacant lot. Let me see if I can figure out real quickly how I can. Oh, there it is. Huh. Okay. So I just made the mistake from the beginning then. I should have picked this one because this is the one that has all the information attached to it. And that would have been the same. So yeah, and we probably would have saved a lot of the words that I just used because this value is 108 because it's confused, and this estimated value is 188. All right, so right when I started this is this when I made the mistake. Let me check all these comments from you guys. The only thing about flip homes is did they cut corners? Is what behind the walls really a headache? Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, if I were you, I would try to offer like 150 and see what happens, and go from there. But in a nutshell, I mean that's how I really run comps. Stop sharing, and that's one of the ways I use PropStream. So hopefully you thought that was really helpful. Let's get back to, I guess, any sort of questions that you might have. So posting your questions in the chat. Any disclaimers? I don't know, Tolu, was that along the lines of what you were thinking? Were you thinking about offering like 150 and going up from there? Do you think 172 is a fair price? At this point, since 179 seems like a good number, since we've got that solid comp at 195, 190, the one at 195 definitely looks a little bit nicer from the bathrooms and the kitchen's perspective. I imagine it might just come down to personal preference as far as like the finishing, whatnot. But now that, I mean, you have solid comps that you could lean on the values of. So at this point, I would say just negotiating as low of a price as you can, the better off you'll be. Because of course, it's always better to have more equity in something than less. But at the same time, with your 30-year goggles on, you could easily justify paying that full price for a rental property that you plan on having for the next 30 years. Because I didn't look at the math on it, but the mortgage payment and whatnot, I imagine how much you're going to rent it out for will more than make up for that mortgage. Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate it. 12 people on, 35 minutes in. Checked out how to run cops on PropStream. That was fun. Let me share one more time because this is another way that I use PropStream a decent amount. Is, let's see. So on PropStream, when you're not looking at this, So there's an interactive map that pops up. I mean, you can put your little street fella down on here and look at the street view. I mean, it's the same thing as Google Maps, really, but you can also just click through and find all the information on any of the properties. So, whenever I'm just researching properties and whatnot, I'll just use this interactive map pretty regularly. Find the area that I really want to invest in, telling all my secrets right now, and just start interactively going around and looking at properties, getting the information on them. And, PropStream, there are so many filters, so many ways that you can search properties and find specific properties rather than looking at them one off. But again, I didn't find out about PropStream until I was a couple of years in on the investing side, and I'm used to doing a lot of the stuff manually. And since I focus all of my investing really around like one area, I mean, PropStream, with just like one click of a parcel, you get more information than you generally would in like the first hour or so of searching manually the way that I used to. So again, the linked properties, figuring out if the person that owns this one property owns any others. So Jerome Robinson here, his mailing address is on Haviland. Linked properties, there's 4 of them. So Middlehurst, Westwood, and Hillcrest. So, approaching, and you can see that he's owned all of these properties for 18 years, 13 plus years. So there's a decent amount of equity in them. There's not any loans on any of his properties at the moment. So, this would be worth a call saying, hey, I know that you have these properties. Would you be interested in selling them at all? Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. But it's probably going to be more negotiable since he has no mortgages on them than if somebody was strapped and struggled with mortgages. So can't emphasize enough. I'm not trying to make like a full tutorial here or sell this too hard. I guess in a nutshell, I'm just saying, get your 7-day free trial. It's really helpful. No, 180K is what we offered because they just changed the fence paste, faucets, and all that. You know how crazy it is in Texas. It'll rent for $1,700 to $1,600 a month. You have to offer above asking price to get a house in Texas. It's frustrating. Yeah. So there goes my strategy there. But even if you had to offer 180, knowing that you could make some adjustments and whatnot. And let me pull up the Ingram rental calculator real quick and figure out what the loan would be at $180,000. Presuming you're putting 75 down or 25% down, that leaves you with a loan of 135. So Ingram rental calculator time, pulling out the loan calculator, 135,000, 30 years, 4%. I know you're doing the Fannie Freddie. So that has your monthly payment at $644.51. So again, that's before the interest, the taxes, and those things. But again, the rental rate is $1,000 over the mortgage amount. So there's a lot of room there after taxes and insurance as well. Don't know what the taxes are in a place like Texas, but I don't know. It's almost like a setup. I don't like that. If you have to offer above asking, then why don't you just, you know. Good morning, Terry. Do you use PropStream to find properties or just the analysis once you already identify the property? I have used PropStream to identify properties in the past, largely just getting, well, Yeah, I mean, the way that you can filter and search through things, like if you want to find, like that guy that we just stumbled upon, Jerome, uh, somebody that has had properties for longer than 10 years and doesn't have any mortgages on them. You could put in an area and you could filter it in a manner where you can find all of the properties that are owned under those circumstances. And then you have a list of people that you can go out, solicit, get a hold of that have high equity properties. So we've done that a couple of times. I mean, we have purchased properties via PropStream that we have identified using PropStream. But for the most part, because we do have, and again, this conversation comes up a lot, and I don't think I have ever made a video that clearly states it. Um, but I mean, PropStream is just like one of the ways that we identify properties to buy, or that we, you know, it's just one stream of our like deal flow streams. So just like, the words of wisdom are having 7 streams of income if you want to be wealthy or whatever. I don't know the origin of that or anything, but I think the same is true pretty much in all forms of sales. So if you want to build a larger portfolio, I think your streams of deal flow are really important. So just by the nature of that, I would say yes, I identify properties via PropStream. However, since that's just one stream and I have a lot of other streams of deal flow as well, I definitely run just about everything that we purchase through PropStream, from at least an analysis perspective, just to make sure that, again, the comps line up, um, that the market actually is what I'm projecting it to be to the investors and eventually to the lenders. So yes, I use PropStream to identify properties and also analyze properties. Probably a little bit heavier on the analysis since we find a lot more deals via um, other methods. 20% down at 4.85, 5-year, 20 loan term. Okay. Taxes about $250 a month. Whew, high taxes. I guess that's a big house too, though. The Ingram rental calculator is still not available on the Play Store. I asked him, Irene. I'm not happy about that too. Software developer said it was in the works. I don't know if the Google Play Store. I don't know anything about technology, but if I don't know if the Google Play Store is harder to get into. I don't know if there's more loops to cross, or I just don't know if it fell off of his desk. Let me pull this up right now on this little telephone device that I have, and let's see. Let me just go ahead and email him real quick, asking about the Play Store. Done. Email sent. There you go, Irene. I'm gunning for you. I'm in your corner. I want you to have this app. I'm a big fan of it. Super advice on PropStream. We'll have to look into it. Thanks. Yeah, Earl Johnson. I think it's gonna be a game changer for you. It's just so much information. Data aggregation. You gotta love it. What other software do you use for deal flow? None. Spill the beans. Yeah, you got it, man. No holds bar here. Let's go. Let me pull up the sheet that we have. My brother and I, man, we have our entire business is run off Google Sheets. Let's see. I mean, I was listening to somebody that I really like to listen to last night. He put together a presentation that he was going to make to some real estate investing things. His name is Michael Zuber. He wrote a book called One Rental at a Time. He's got a YouTube channel. He makes a video every day. He is a big brained individual. I really appreciate all the information that he puts out. He's a really genuine fella. If you like me, chances are you'll like him as well. And he put together a presentation and he posted the video last night, and I watched it, and he was just saying that one of the things that he learned about real estate investing that it took him 6-7 years to figure out is that it is all about relationships. So real estate, yes, the numbers are important and all of that, but at the end of the day, it's all about building, maintaining relationships, and just doing a lot of repetitive business with people. So now I've got the sheet pulled up in front of me. I don't think I'm sharing my screen. um, I hope I'm not sharing my screen. But it's all the properties we currently have under contract. And let me just go through and figure out where we got all these. So the first one we purchased, we found it on the MLS. It's listed right on the MLS with, you know, everyone had equal opportunity to buy it. The second one is the 11 package deal. That's the one that we're getting on the land contract. And that was from a relationship. So that is from the insurance agency. That is someone that, I've built a relationship with, I guess, from, well, no, that's from like an indirect. So she was referred to our insurance agency and really needed insurance, but ultimately revealed that she wanted to sell her properties and was more than happy to do so. So that was a relationship from the insurance agency. The third, or the 13th rather, is from a contractor. One of our contractors has one rental property and he just doesn't want it anymore. The other is from a relationship with a realtor. It went through a probate court. So the probate attorney reached out to the realtor to list it on the MLS, and he reached out to me. Another one was listed on the MLS. The 16th property is from a wholesaler. The 17th and 18th, those are from the same realtor. She listed those on the MLS, and someone approached her with a package of properties, and she reached out to me. Let's see here. The 19th property was on the MLS. Now, to be specific, when I'm saying that these were on the MLS, let's see here. So the first one, it was listed for, I think, 3 days before I offered on it. This one, the 19th one, it was on the MLS just for a little bit. Another one is from a wholesaler. The 20th property is from a wholesaler. Very sophisticated, very helpful wholesaler. The 21st property is another MLS. And I think I've mentioned this. I mentioned this last week as well. I feel like the MLS just kind of ebbs and flows. And I guess that's, any market as a whole always ebbs and flows. But sometimes I feel like there's a lot of competition and I place bids on properties and I'm either outbid or for whatever reason, it doesn't work. There are too many offers and people are paying higher than I'm willing to. There are other times when it seems like the MLS slows down a little bit and there are some properties that are kind of stagnant or they're just listed, but maybe they're just listed very optimistically. And I'll put in a really low offer and it'll get accepted. So just recently there was a property, this one that I'm at, it was listed for 65,000 and we offered $40,000 and there was no counters or anything and it was accepted. So that's fun. So the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th property are all from the MLS. 25th, the 25th property was from the MLS as well. I was kind of shocked when I saw this property come across the MLS because I looked at it and I said, hey, I know that house when I got the notification. I was like, I write the insurance on that house. So I reached out to the person that owns it and negotiated buying it from him. And then 26, 27, 28, they're all from the MLS. And then 29 and 30 are from a realtor that I have purchased properties from previously. And she had a seller approach her with some properties and immediately called me because it was very nice. It was a very nice thing to do. So that is how we found all of the properties that we currently have under contract. So by and large, it looks like the MLS is where we have purchased the majority of these properties. However, even though I say the MLS, there are relationship factors that come into play on these, and I would say for the most part, I have done deals with the realtors that put them on the MLS before. So there's a level of comfort and and understanding that we will most certainly close on the property and it will be no issues. Because one of the things that we don't do when we offer properties on the MLS, we really offer the only contingency is that I walk through it. Other than that, it's cash, and we can close inside of 2 weeks inside of 14 business days. And we made it the business day just because the title companies seem to be getting backed up at the moment, and it's taken a little bit longer to get title back. We used to just say, inside of 2 weeks we would close, just 2 calendar weeks, but now we're kind of avoiding that. Yeah, of course. We're avoiding that because the title company needs a little bit more time to get a clean title back and handle any title issues. And if you haven't already, since we're at a little bit of a lull because nobody is asking any questions at the moment, hey, feel free to go ahead and go over to the App Store. And if you are on an Apple phone, and download the Ingram rental calculator. And since I said Ingram, and I'm feeling real grateful today, I would like to go ahead and take a couple of seconds to say thank you to the awesome brother that I have. I would say very confidently, and especially when we went over those numbers. So if you're just now joining us, at the beginning of the call, I was just kind of reminiscing about where our business started in 2017 and where it is now. Because I just got done mentioning the 30 properties that we currently have under contract. So in 2017, we had 2 properties. And my brother and I didn't actually form like a real business to run together until like the first, probably like the beginning of the second quarter of 2018. That's when we had a couple of really, really intentional conversations around, hey, if we're both going to be doing this, we should probably be doing it together. And we should probably really focus on Dayton because these numbers make a lot of sense. So that's when we like drafted up legal documents and officially started a business. And like I mentioned, in December of 2018, we bought a package of 13 properties, and that was one of the things that I say is a lot of luck. I mean, that was a lucky thing that happened that absolutely accelerated our business. But before that, we had 8 properties before we bought that package of 13, and this is one of the things that it's one of those pains that are quickly forgotten once it stops happening. But before we bought that package of 13, we had 8 properties, and we had a very painful conversation at the end of every month. And that was, so we had eight properties all rented out. They were all great purchases, but we had a painful conversation at the end of every month because the repairs that were necessary were more than the income that it brought in. So we had to figure out how much money each of us had to contribute to keep the business alive just another month, right? So now when we closed on that package of 13, that boosted our gross monthly rents by I think right at $7,000 per month. And that is when we really started noticing like what's it called? Like the law of averages, the law of large numbers, right? So if one property had an issue, it was okay because the other 20 properties were bringing in a sufficient amount of money to cover whatever issue that one property had. It's kind of like car insurance. I know I've talked about that a couple of times. So then in 2019, we ended with 38 properties. 2020, we ended with 80. So far in 2021, we're currently at 142 properties with another 30 under contract. So it has been an absolute awesome year where we will have doubled in our size again. So that feels good. But again, since I said Ingram, I'm feeling all sentimental and grateful. I just want to say thanks to my brother Will because he does a lot of really heavy lifting in the business, and I wouldn't even have a fraction of what I do. The quality of life, how much fun I have on a daily basis, it would be infinitesimal without Will. So thanks, Will. I love you a lot. Really love our business. I'm having the time of my life doing all this stuff. Super fun. Not sure if you ever mentioned this, but what kind of insurance do you need during rehab? Yeah, it's called a vacant insurance. Some people, if they do more of the commercial type insurance stuff, they'll call it builder's risk. But if it's like a single family home, vacant policy is really what it's about. The thing, the only real thing about vacant policies that you just want to be mindful of, so as not to be caught off guard and angry at your insurance agent whenever this happens, is most vacant policies exclude any sort of, they call it VMM, as in, you know, uh, hmm, I just forgot the phonetic alphabet for M. Oh, Mary. So as in like Victor, Mary, Mary. It's uh, vandalism and malicious mischief is what the insurance world calls it. So vandalism, if somebody comes in, spray paints nonsense all over your walls, it's not covered on the vacant policy. You can add it, but it just, that's where a lot of the premium comes from, because since these policies, I mean, since these properties are just fundamentally vacant, they have a higher propensity to be uh, abused, broken into, copper stolen. Theft often isn't covered on vacant properties. So just keeping those in mind. And I would say on average, vacant policies are about 2 to 4 times as expensive as your occupied normal insurance policy. So be prepared for that. Thanks. What does your average rehab look like? Um, so as we're putting properties under contract, as we are building out our portfolio, we have okay. Um, we take a lot of consideration and care into making sure that we buy an equal number of occupied or rent ready properties as we do generally, probably more than that, more than the ones that need like total rehab. So like right now, I know that of the 30 properties that we have under contract, only 9 of them are unoccupied. The of those, some of them are rent ready. As soon as we close on them, we could put somebody in there. Others are full rehabs. Probably about 2 or 3 of those are just absolute full rehabs. And we also expect, just as we walk through properties that are occupied, we earmark certain things that, just have to be done. Like there's one that we got from a wholesaler that we have under contract at the moment that at the day we close, we're replacing the roof on it. It's got like 4 layers of shingles, the wood shake. It needs to be redecked. It's going to be like probably about a $15,000 roof. Um, so I would say that most properties, whenever we purchase them, unless we pay close to retail or get like a good deal on them, need probably about $5,000 to $10,000 worth of work. Now, a lot of these things are just like punch list items. Others are things like a roof. So we factor all of that into our kind of equation, if you will. And it's taken some trial and error, right? Like we get it wrong, and I've got it wrong a lot because this is what I do in the business, is just go around, look at these properties. When we offer, I do my very best, because our formula that we stick to is um, purchase price plus rehab costs uh, is equal to or lesser than 75% of the ARV. So if we can, and 70, getting like equal to 75% is not a deal that I'm going to particularly get excited about, but because that's where the equity is, right? And you want to have as much equity in these properties as you can. So if you have to do a massive amount of work to it, then maybe it's uh, purchase price plus rehab is equal to or lesser than like 60%, because then you would be able to, you would make money on the equity at the time of purchase. So as far as the average rehab cost goes, I would say it generally takes us somewhere between $5,000 and $15,000 once we buy a property, and it's unpredictable because each house is different. But the way that we try to, I don't want to use the word underwrite because that's what big apartment multifamily people say, but I guess that's also what you're doing. When you are underwriting these deals, we want the purchase price plus the rehab costs to be equal to or lesser than 75% ARV. and that is a complete house without any deferred maintenance. So we have a particular standard. Internally, we like to call it the Ingram standard, where that's where we want all of our properties to be. Some are far off because we bought them occupied and they've been occupied for umpteen years, and the people have no interest in moving. And it just financially does not make sense for us to put money in there that we can't raise the rent to get back. We are very conscientious not to be, slumlords, not to allow issues to go on without correcting them. We have no interest in that. Our whole mission, our whole kind of mantra is that we want these houses to last 100 plus years, and we want to partner with people to take care of them the same way that, we want to. So, not a fan of deferred maintenance. But as far as going in and putting a new kitchen, new bathrooms in to some place that's been rented out for 20, 30 years, that's hard to justify. If it has any sort of like leak or issue or any of that, then yes, we absolutely fix it. So since it's the internet, since things are largely taken out of context, I wanted to just go ahead and clarify that. But that's the best and closest answer that I could possibly give on what my average rehab is like. 5 to 15,000. If we have to put less than that in there and we still get it under 75% of the after repair value, I think I probably did a little bit of a boogie whenever I got that under contract. Did a little bit of a happy dance because that's a good deal. Generally, it seems like the more equity you can get in the property, the more work that it needs. The more distressed it is, people are willing to let it go for a lot lesser than purchase price plus rehab, 75%. The best thing to do, what I find, is make friends with the people living around the house. Yeah, you're right. That's always great. But even that has its pros and cons, sir. They're the best insurance policy and check on the properties often during rehab. That's true too. You could honor your brother. Speaks volumes of your character. Well, thanks, man. It also speaks volumes of his character. He's the man. The real cat's meow. He is. I like him a lot. I made a commitment to myself when I was like 16 or 17, just because I was made aware of all of my personality flaws and all of my brother's strengths. And I made a vow to myself to never do anything without running it by my brother first. So he is my sounding board, my big rock. Grateful for your time. I'm grateful for you, man. I am so pumped. About all that footage you took. I'm really excited about it. See, look, I can't really speak openly about it, but the 20 other people on this call know that I'm working hard on a series at the moment that I think and I hope that you're really gonna like. And again, maybe that's part of the reason I'm feeling super grateful. I just got some good news about this series as well. So I'm doing my best. If any of you are bored or know of somebody in the Dayton area that just likes doing some sort of like videography stuff that wants to help me record this series and edit it to make it awesome, then please send them my way. I'm definitely looking, and I'm definitely happy to appropriately compensate people for their time. Yeah, man. Yeah. I think there's. I don't know what all you're good at, but I would love some help. So yeah, trying to. I think there's a lot of. I think I'm underutilizing this YouTube channel a lot, to be honest. I think it's a great way to get good information out to people. I mean, like right now, the 21 people are on this call. It's awesome. It's like teaching a classroom. And I think the thing that I like most about it is I'm just able to give information away to people for free that generally other people kind of block behind really big unnecessary paywalls. So a friend of mine, I was talking to him the other day. He likes exposing gurus, and he was talking to me about a real estate guru that is just it's just silly. He charges like $5,000 a course for really basic information, and I just think that's wrong. I mean, especially in real estate, I've mentioned it a lot on this channel before. It's such an old industry. There's nothing new. It's not like there's this revolutionary new way to invest in real estate it's been happening for hundreds of years, and it will continue happening in the exact same manner for hundreds of more years. So it's all simple, and it's things that you shouldn't have to pay for. However, like with the mastermind that we do, I think I'm 100% on board with paying to be around the appropriate people. And I know that probably sounds, to people that are unfamiliar with the concept, it probably sounds a little bit superficial and unnecessary and maybe even conceited. But having the right network of people around you is an extraordinary like gift, blessing, and encouragement. So having the right people around you that encourage you, hold you accountable, lift you up when you're feeling down, because as any entrepreneur knows, there are days that are just so taxing. All you want to do is, you know, close your business, sell everything you own, and work for someone else again. And those, you really have to have the right network of people around you in order to, successfully and effectively fight through all those things. And just like the group think is really powerful, problem solving, all of that. And in a perfect world, sure, you could do that for free, but just out of respect to everyone's time, I mean, paying for it, it's truly sacrificing your resources to be part of that. So because you're paying for it, you're going to be there every week. You're going to be positively contributing. You're going to be reaching out to the other people in the group. You're going to be, trying to benefit them as much as you are being benefited by the group. So I'm a huge fan of that, and I would contribute a very large portion of my success to being around the right people, largely of which I've paid to do. So awesome. Yeah, man. Do you mentor? I do, in the form of that mastermind. That mastermind is the only outlet that I really I mentor people in, and that's just really for efficiency. I mean, it is. I'm passionate about this. And if I weren't careful, if I didn't have parameters, I would find myself having just one-off conversations with everyone that I possibly could, and mentoring all of the people, so much so that I would never get anything actually done. And I have tried to do some like one-on-one things, but largely what it turns into is like a bunch of just like repetitive information, and it's really difficult to keep track with a lot of individual conversations that you have to follow up with people to see if they actually did the things that were discussed. So I don't really do anything one-on-one. I encourage anybody that wants to get to know me better, have me give insights into what they're doing, to join the mastermind. And the downside of that is that currently it's just for guys. So, I realize I'm leaving out a solid 50% of the population in that, but at the same time, just personal preference, really, in the nicest way possible. I think it's appropriate too, though, but personal preference, but also appropriate. Let's see here. What else? This Reddit. Let me pull up this Reddit really quickly. Really excited about it. "41 people, 4 online." Man, I miss some stuff. I miss a lot of things. Yeah. All right. Let me see if I can share this screen again. Surely I should be able to do that. Let's go over some of these things. This is looking pretty good. All right, so Talk Real Estate. This is the subreddit that I created just to connect deeper with everybody, because this live stream is great. I love it, and I really enjoy doing it every Friday. But also, it's YouTube is like a really difficult platform to get some solid like back and forth with people, and also get some really good like right now, Cosmic Wisdom just answered some questions for Irene. That's really tough to do on YouTube. It's not common. So creating like a community where people can actually interact with other investors. Most subreddits have like thousands of people. I have I have tons of confidence that this will one day be thousands of people. So if you want to be one of the first 50 members, by all means, join today. And just answering all the questions. So let's see here. And I think it's also just like a nice, like you can tell people who you are if you want to. Otherwise, you can just stay anonymous if you want to. So Rush Capable says, my name is Jordan. I recently started watching your videos and appreciate all the high quality practical advice you provide for beginning real estate investors. Just recently relocated to Columbus. Nice. From California. Wow. And learn as much as you can about real estate investing. Plan on buying your first investment property. Nice, with his brother too, in the next 6 months. Researching both Columbus and Dayton to determine which markets to invest in. Eventually building a portfolio of rental properties as long-term investments. Also interested in a couple fix and flips for the capital needed. Prices are increasingly rapidly in many places right now, especially in Columbus. Whew. Oh, it's definitely been the case in Columbus. Yeah. After researching Dayton, I just realized that it's way more awesome than Columbus, and I'm probably going to move there after I tell my new employer that Dayton is so much better. Seems like the city is more ideal for rentals and flips due to the low property values and potentially high repair costs, making these properties move-in ready. I know that you own a lot of properties in Dayton. We have insights on lower income areas of Dayton that are improving. We're making a profit or flipping homes as possible. So, sure. I mean, and I think just like with, especially if you use PropStream, you can find that out pretty quick. But yeah, I mean, the thing about saying that there are lower income areas of Dayton, I mean, let's be real. Like, especially if you're coming from California, if you make $40,000 in Dayton, I mean, you are living good. You can those $40,000 goes a long way. That's like making 120, 150 probably out. No, probably more like making like 200 or more out in California. I mean, you can get a lot done in Dayton with $40,000 a year. And that's not the case for most of the world. So I would say when it comes to the Midwest, I would I would say that every area could be classified as lower income. Like I'm thinking about places inside the city limits of Dayton right now, and I can't say that the difference socioeconomically speaking is any different in any of the areas. I think they're all pretty much exactly the same as far as income goes. I mean, I think the median income in Dayton is probably around that like $40,000 or $50,000 mark. I've done zero research into this, but that's just my thought on that. So I would say if you make a nice house into a nice house, regardless of where it is, it'll command the appropriate dollar amount. Lower income areas, I don't know. I mean, I get it. I guess all of Ohio is lower income than most places. So, let's see. I know people that are having success flipping inside the city limits of Dayton are probably doing it in like the Mount Vernon areas. I think that's 45406. Any of the historical communities, you probably have some good equity there if you want to flip. Let's see. If you are interested in doing the suburbs, then I mean, that's a lot easier to identify. But you're not going to get the same like entry level prices. But anything that you can get in like Kettering, Belmont's inside the city limits of Dayton. That would be a good place to flip. Anywhere really in Kettering, Centerville, Oakwood goes for like $200 a square foot. That's right outside the city limits of Dayton. Some pretty cool stuff to do there. All right, man. We fell on a little bit of a dry spell. Any comments that you guys have, go ahead and post those in the chat. This is kind of crazy that I'm making all these screen inside of a screen inside of a screen. It's wild that it repeats like that. I'm sure there's good reason for it. All right, let's get back over here. So yeah, again, hey, you should probably join this Reddit, and I'll do a better job making sure I'm not trying to miss anything. All right, let's see what else. Pest control. Oh no, what's up, everyone? I've had a flea issue in my 4 unit. Unfortunately, it's in the unit I live in. No animals there except for one cat in the below unit. Owner of it doesn't have fleas in her unit. I'm having it sprayed on Wednesday, and I'm waking up with bites all over my legs. Should I have them look for mice and raccoons? I've done some research, and they do live on those rodents. Yes. Yeah, man, that was 17 days ago. I was slacking. I'm supposed to get updates whenever whenever somebody posts on this. This obviously was one of those time sensitive situations. I missed the boat on being time sensitive. But yes, I've had fleas in one of the houses that I've lived in, and I had kids then, and I would only notice the fleas uh, like early in the morning when I was waking up and getting ready. And turns out I had a raccoon living in the chimney. So I didn't have a chimney cap on that house, and it would crawl in, I guess, whenever raccoons sleep. And yeah, I'd have a flea or two on me. And once we got rid of the raccoon, the flea situation went away. Um, this is Fleas are not something that we commonly deal with in our rental properties. Now, since most of ours are single families, and infestation like fleas or whatnot would fall on the responsibility of the residents. Now, generally, like for pests, the difference comes in like if it's like a structural thing, like if there's open areas in the masonry, or if there's some things that aren't sealed off and like mice are getting in that way, we would 100% handle that. But if bugs or whatnot are getting in because of the way that you're living, that's totally on the resident. Raccoons, squirrels, things like that getting into the attic, because that's an opening that we've allowed to happen in the building, that's generally something that we're going to close as well. So yes, definitely look for some rodents. All right. Let's see what else. The $16,000 rental property rehab cost. Some nice contents you are providing. That's what I like to hear. Uh, how did you know the rehab cost for each repair? Did you hire a contract for estimates, or was it from previous experience? What would your advice be to a total beginner on this subject? What a great question. Um, I don't remember this video specifically, but yes, I would say a lot of it was just previous experience. I know when I first started, I think Bigger Pockets and then the local investor put together like a spreadsheet of like the common or average costs for doing things in like the rental grade kind of way. And I would say, in just real broad strokes, you should probably expect to spend, I don't know, $6,000 on the kitchen, $3,000 on the bathroom, about $4 per square foot on the flooring. And this is labor and materials. Maybe about $2,500 per house to paint it. Um, that's what I would say. And then, I mean, each contractor is a little bit different on how they charge. Um, but I would say that's like, if you're just making like a real quick budget on like back of the napkin style Gettysburg Address type things, yeah, just that like $6,000 for a kitchen, $3,000 per bathroom, $4 per square foot for flooring, and a generic $2,500 to paint a house. Now, if the walls are real messed up, yeah, I mean, it'll be more based on like the drywall repair and whatnot. But for the most part, that's what I would say. About $2,500 a house. It almost seems like the size of the house doesn't matter. I mean, I think it's just about $2,500 to paint it. I don't know if it's a mental thing or what. Small houses take $2,500 to paint. Big houses take $2,500 to paint. Um, every house takes at least $2,500 to paint. Keep up the good work. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. 23 days ago, won my first auction. When I first condo auction, 51,000, still have to wait 10 days for the upset bids to come into the courthouse. You can outbid someone in 5% increments after the auction, but you have to come into the courthouse to do it within 10 days from auction. If you win, the 10-day period starts over again. Wow. That's a pretty wild. And look at that. People commenting on it too. Live in VA on and off, looked at New York, North Carolina homes. Yeah. Yeah, we need. Yeah, I dropped the ball a little bit on this. All right. Alex Sosa. What's up, man? These green A's. I wonder, I guess YouTube just generically does it. I heard in last week's stream that your brother lives in Jacksonville, Florida. I also live in Jax. Do you guys have any investments out here? I think Will has one. I think we've got one property down there, but I think he's about to sell it. But yeah, I'm new to this and learning, but what I'm finding is crazy prices here in Jax, even in not desirable areas. Just wanted to see your thoughts on the Jax market. Great show, Ryan. Well, thanks, Alex Sosa. Yeah, I would. Let me go ahead and post this. I'm sure he would love to connect with you. If nothing else, then just there's his email address. Let's see. Bill at ingramcapital.us. There you go. So yeah, shoot him an email. He knows a lot about the Jax market. He's got some friends that invest there. Yeah, if you guys connect, that'd be pretty solid. He talks to investors all the time. He's a loan originator down in Jacksonville, Florida. So he has a lot of conversations about the market. He's constantly seeing like what people are paying for properties as he's like writing the loans on them. He's helped some investors down there. It's a different game. I mean, the returns are just lesser than the returns here in Dayton. But that's one of the beautiful things about real estate. I mean, he lives in Jacksonville, Florida, but most of our properties are up here in Dayton. I moved here. I think out of state investing would be a little bit tough. But at the same time, I also think that if you really want to get started in real estate investing, but like the price of entry is a little bit too high for you in the area that you are, I mean, you can always move. I know a couple people that moved here to Dayton from other markets to take advantage of the real estate investing. There's one guy that I met here on the YouTube channel. He reached out to me. The time he lived in Arizona, he moved up here to Dayton. He is now a really good friend of mine and does a ton to help me out. But he now has 3 rental properties. He just closed on another one yesterday. So yeah, he's done great work. So I mean, he lived in a condo in Arizona and now just cashing out of that, selling that, moving up here. He now has 3 rentals, and I mean his family's life is well on the way of being changed forever because he was willing to relocate and move to a market where real estate prices, the returns were higher and the point of entry was lower. So I think that's probably going to be the trend for the foreseeable future, really. All right, any questions you have? Oh man, I've been sharing the screen the whole time. That's probably been a headache to look at. I apologize. All right. Let me clean up these tabs. All right, 9 people on. Any questions you have in the chat? If we lose too much steam, we might have to go ahead and call it a day. Hour and 25 minutes in. Generally, this is when it's picking up. So 21 people were on at one point. Now there's 9. Man, it's wild. These prices are definitely increasing. I'm just looking at this. Just looking at this thing that I get. Any thoughts on a tenant that reached out to a rental assistant program? Any experience with that? Yep. Yep. I say do it. I mean, right now there are so many rental assistant programs out there that I would say if somebody's struggling paying their rent, there's likely a program that's willing to help them. So I would definitely we've encouraged some people to reach out to the programs. I would say, just because it's generally they're generally messing around with government funds or they are themselves like a larger corporation. There's a lot of paperwork involved generally that needs to be like filled out. I've found that a lot of the forms, it's not like they're user friendly. So it's not like we have the ability to do them electronically and send them out. Generally, it involves, printing them out and scanning it back, which isn't a big inconvenience, but in any quantity might be taxing. Outside of that, I think the turnaround time is a little bit serious. So a lot of the programs, they start helping whenever the person is like 1 month behind. And a few of the programs have had us sign little forms that say, "Hey, we acknowledge that this program is working with this resident. Do not evict them for the next 30, 60 days." And in the time that the programs take to get their paperwork together to pay that 1 month rent that the person was behind, it's taken them 2 or 3 months. So now they're paying like 3 or 4 months worth of rent rather than just like the 1 or 2 if their paperwork was a little bit more efficient. So I would say that it kind of looks and feels bad whenever, somebody has gone multiple months without paying. But in all of the circumstances that we have had, those programs did come through and they did pay for however much the person needed to pay or fell delinquent. So, and also, I mean, I think a lot of them started paying like 1 or 2 months past like the current deficit so that they were like ahead for a couple more months. So we've accepted a lot of those payment assistant programs. I would say we've probably done like 9 or 10 of them at this point. And outside of just like the long like lag time or like waiting, communication's always been rough. Sometimes like a month goes by, we don't really hear anything from them. That makes us concerned because these people are just getting in a bigger and bigger hole. But so far, it's always come through. Like a sponge, love everything you say. Great info all around. Thanks so much for this great channel and all the free info. Number one in my book. Thanks, Earl Johnson. I really appreciate that, man. I really do. I have a lot of fun doing this, and I really appreciate it. All right. Any questions? Go ahead and post them in the chat. Happy to help. Let's see. That's reassuring. Thanks. Yeah, it's a wild ride, and again, it makes us worry because you know um, a very small percentage. I mean, finances are really hard. Personal finances are even harder, and especially once someone falls on hard times and is reaching out to another entity for assistance. So, like dealing with the unemployment, dealing with all of the presumably other bills that they have. I mean, falling 2 months behind on rent can be a really, really tough predicament for a lot of people to get out of. Um, so, you don't, I know the programs are there to help, but yeah, between the time that the program says they're going to do something to the time they actually do it, it's a wild ride. Oh, but yeah, they've always come through. I think my brother handles most of the interactions with these companies, and he has noticed that he just reaches out to them every so often to kind of have that comfort knowing that things are moving along to make sure that we haven't been forgotten about. Not necessarily for us, but really just to make sure that these people don't accidentally get themselves in a hole that they can't dig out of, because that would be bad. Nobody really wants that. Payment, like increasing your rent by like $300 per month to make up for the months that you missed. That's tough. All right. Well, I'm gonna have so much time on my hands this morning. I think normally this thing ends at about 10:30, 11 o'clock. We ended at 9:30. I'm gonna have a whole extra hour on my hands. It's a nice day out. I might go walk by the river. All right. Well, I'll wait a few more minutes. I think I caught you guys up on everything that I've got going on. All right. I think the last thing I have to say is, if you hadn't already, if the beginning of this thing didn't convince you already, go ahead and click that link to get your free 7-day trial of PropStream. It is an affiliate link, so it helps me out. Helps me out a lot. So, all right. Well, hey, I sure do appreciate everybody. Thanks for all your time. Thanks for being here. Join the Reddit and feel free to ask any questions there. And I'm going to try to increase the response time from 23 days to 2 days. So yeah, any questions you might have between next Friday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard for the live stream, go ahead and post them there, and we'll go over them. In the meantime, enjoy PropStream. Go out there and find some properties to buy, and hey, change the future of your family. So, all right, I appreciate all of you, and I'll talk to you all soon.